Hi there. Welcome to Series 15, number 13. And this time we're going to talk about Rachel meeting up with Jacob. It says in verse 3 of chapter 29, so Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. He looked and saw a well in the field, and behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all of the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in place on the well's mouth. It's interesting how it's introduced. He came to the land of the people of the east. It doesn't really give us too much in the way of geography, does it? But it's because the Lord blessed his trip. Jacob returned to the land of his mother, Rebekah, and she came from that particular land, being also the land of his grandfather Abraham. You see, he looked and he saw the well in the field. As Jacob came near to the home of his mother's family, he noticed a well that was used to water sheep. The well was covered and protected by a large stone. We get all of that information. It really lays the platform for the story we're going to hear. And this is where Jacob meets Rachel. And Jacob said to them, "My brethren, where are you from?" And they said, "We are from Haran." And then he said to them, "Do you know Laban, son of Nahor?" Then they said, "We know him." So he said to them, "Is he well?" And they said, "He is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep." Then he said, "Look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them." But they said, "We cannot until all of the flocks are gathered together." And they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Okay, we actually get a whole concept of what happens in the managing of the mob of sheep, don't we? Now, while he was speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban and his mother's brother. Okay. Notice what he starts off this portion with. He says, "My brethren, where are you from?" In an age before clearly marked roads and signs, Jacob didn't know exactly where he was until he asked some of the locals. Jacob then discovered that he was at his destination. This was where he's supposed to get to. He asked the question, "Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?" Jacob knew that his contact was to be Uncle Laban, the brother of his mother. The shepherds not only knew Laban, but they also told Jacob about Laban's daughter, Rachel, and that she was approaching, ready to do the caring for the sheep. "Water the sheep and go and feed them" was his statement. And after hearing that Laban's daughter Rachel was approaching, Jacob told the shepherd boys, and they probably were young boys, to go and care for their sheep. This would give Jacob an opportunity to speak more directly with Rachel. There's method in his madness. Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth. This is him helping the process, becoming part of the process of not only getting to know people, but getting into the local community, I suppose. Knowing that he had come to marry one of the daughters of Laban, Jacob was happy to show kindness and perhaps even his strength to Laban's daughter, Rachel. The shepherd boys waited for someone to remove the stone, and Jacob did it in the presence of Rachel. Yeah, bit of a demonstration. Anyway, Rachel arranged for her father to then meet Jacob. Let's read from verse 11 through to 14. Then Jacob kissed Rachel, Gee, that was quick, wasn't it? And lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative, and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Then it came to pass when Laban heard the report about Jacob, his sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embrace him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban said, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him for a month. Just so you know, that's the dog shaking again. Seems to come out every day, every week at this time. Notice it says there, Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. Initially, Rachel must have been a little bit surprised when a man he had never met before greeted her and kissed her, then wept aloud. But Jacob told Rachel that he was a relative. Rachel had been told by her aunt Rebekah, who married a wealthy distant relative to the family. They'd been told all about the story of that. And notice it says here at the end of that part, he stayed with him for a month. Laban showed generous hospitality, not only because of custom and not only because Jacob was his nephew. Laban also knew that Jacob would inherit a significant fortune from his father Isaac. You see, Laban's agreement with Jacob comes next.